This is Tiffany Pardue with Ariel Blumenthal at Shiloh. Ariel, you are director of the Jerusalem base of Tikkun Global, yes?
I am.
And you have come here to Kansas City, and the Isaiah 62 fast is going on, so we are so thankful to have you drop by Shiloh.
It's great to be here.
We would love to hear from you today, Ariel, for you to help inform our intercessors. As a Jewish follower of Yeshua,
I am.
Jerusalem-based,
Yep.
how would you have the 5 million plus Christians who are now interceding for Israel pray?
Romans 10, Paul's heart, he says, brethren, my heart's desire is that Israel will be saved. And that's how he lived his life. So we're always praying. So we're praying for the veil to be lifted over our people's eyes, that God, who has hid his face from our people for a long time, he is revealing that face, and his face is Yeshua. Now, of course, for Jewish people to be saved, and they have to be alive, okay? So we need to pray for the protection of the Jewish people and of our nation, because we have a lot of enemies.
Absolutely.
And a lot of missiles, and a lot of people, and Allah, and a lot of things, people against us. So we pray for the protection and the prosperity of the nation, and all that that goes along with it. And thirdly, we believe very strongly in the one new man. I wrote a book called One New Man from Ephesians 2, the Romans 11 paradigm of the fullness of the Gentiles and the salvation of Israel fitting together in God's plan, and that there's a role for the nations and Christians from every tribe, tongue, and nation to provoke Israel to jealousy, to build unity in Messiah with Messianic Jews, and to do the work of the kingdom, to see Israel come to her fullness, and along with the whole world.
Wow, well, we will be sure to link One New Man in the description and make sure that you have access to that resource that will help us continue the journey following this fast. Wow.
And for us, it's amazing, because this season, we call it the counting of the Omer. From the end of Passover, you count. It's the only place in the holidays in the scriptures where it says to Israel, count. The other holidays, it's like on this day, do that, on the 14th, on the 10th. But for this, it says count from the end of Passover until 49 days. And there's something about counting that it's like you're supposed to mark the time, because watch, things are going to be happening. And in the modern history of Israel and the restoration of Israel as a nation, many major events have taken place during this time. It's the same time, 40 days, that Yeshua, the glorified King, in his resurrection body was walking and zapping throughout the universe, everything he could do in a resurrection body during that same 40 days, okay? So it's for us, it's a very significant period. We're watching in expectation. And all these different groups, without really knowing that, have chosen this time. There's going to be 24 hours of prayer, which is going to begin at 6 p.m. Saturday night, the 27th, Jerusalem time, with broadcasts from Israel and different leaders from the nations, from Israel, Arabs, Jews, all of us together. And then the next day, from near the Old City, there's going to be a 2-hour broadcast where we're going to be really doing more of that kind of on site, and just praying and doing a little teaching also about how, there's a lot of groups who are just gung-ho for Israel. You guys are one of them, Israel, Aliyah, and we love to pray for the Jews, intercede, fast and pray. And there are other groups with an emphasis on world missions who kind of, Israel, the Jewish, okay, it's another people group. They need to be reached, but if you start talking about them too much, it gets political and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And it was kind of interesting to see how the groups were coming together, because it seems to be the prayer groups and kind of the prophetic groups who get this download, about Israel and the Jews. And for us, it all comes together in Romans 11. That actually what Paul was talking about and teaching, in my book, I call it the fullness formula. He saw this dynamic between the gospel going in his ministry, going out to the nations, to the Gentiles, provoking Israel to jealousy. And it wasn't just a one-time vector, like, okay, we're going to go out and out and out and out, we're going to see all the Gentiles, and then the last Gentile gets saved, and then God's going to start saving Israel. That's what some people believe. That's not how we see it. Because God is reviving Israel, and has been for the last 100 years, faith in Yeshua among the Jewish people. And it's this dynamic of the salvation of Israel and the restoration of Israel in Jesus, and global missions and the fullness of the Gentiles, all Israel being saved, that he's linked together. So we're going to be talking also about that and hopefully helping a lot of believers around the world see that, okay, this Israel stuff, it's also really, it's not just, because sometimes the Israel crowd, it kind of, people think they're a little bit, like, that's a little bit obsessive. Okay, the Jews, but there's billions of people who need Jesus, what about them?
Yeah.
And it's all part of God's plan and his heart.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like a God-ordained convergence in Jerusalem.
I really, Jerusalem is the place.
Wow.